that being said, I see that Jenn Drummond is in the room, and I would love to bring you to the stage. Jenn, thank you so much for joining us today. Just going to wait for you to get unmuted. You are speaking
Perfect.
today. Are you
Yes,
unmuted there?
I got unmuted. Thank you. Thank you. Have
You're
a noisy
welcome.
background.
So this is an interesting story. So I got introduced to a woman who we were doing some work with. And it was great, and we were having a good reciprocal relationship in business. And she's like, and she knows my son. So she says to me, she goes, "I got to introduce you to this cool guy. He's an incredible DJ. Him and Ocean are just going to hit it off." Well, him and Ocean hit it off. And so we, lots of collaboration, lots of stuff. Go onto my website and look at the podcast. Dushan and Ocean are just rocking it out, talking about what it's like to be younger, a different generation maybe, and rocking business and seeing all that unfold. I just happened to be on his Facebook because I'm always trying to support, give a heart, give a comment, give a love. And then I saw this woman's name, and I was like, "That's incredible. She has the same name as my niece." He goes, "I've been thinking about putting you guys together because blah, 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 blah." And he starts just going, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, "Just put us in a text. Just put us in a text." And then I had an opportunity to meet her and hear her story. And I'm like, "Will you please be the opening speaker for International Women's Day?" Because it is that story that you are going to repeat today. You're going to repeat it in a week from now, and you're going to go, "Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can." And I don't want to say what she's going to say, but I just want to introduce her. So, Jenn, again, I know that you are busy, you are training, and you are traveling, and you are speaking all over the world. But let me tell you, this woman is a world record-setting mountaineer, entrepreneur, and a mother of 7 who transformed a near-fatal car crash into a life of purpose. I'll just stop at 7. I'll talk about you all week just for that alone. Her journey led her to become the first woman to climb the second highest peak on each of the 7 continents. Now she empowers leaders to overcome mental mountains and pursue what are once felt impossible. And she is again training right now to achieve another world record this April. So please, Jenn, take the stage, and can't wait to hear what you have to say today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I think it's best to kind of like rewind in my life and go back to this moment where I lost my driver's license. And I was so frustrated with myself that I lost my license. I had to go to a nearby town to get a new one. And when I was driving home, I was paying attention to the side of the road. And like the reservoir hadn't frozen over yet. I'm wondering when it's going to. And then my attention gets pulled back to the road, and I realize I'm coming up hot on a semi truck going slower than a snail. And so I look in my rearview mirror, I go to get over, and unfortunately, I don't make it. I see the corner of the passenger side of the car collide with the semi truck, and instantly I'm negotiating with death. Like, please let me live. I promise I'll do something significant with my life. And then externally, everything was going super fast. Dirt, sky, dirt, sky, dirt, sky. I went flip end over end 3 times and did a whole bunch of sideways rolls. Internally, life slowed down. All these memories were flashing forward, all these thoughts of things that I wanted to do and kept waiting on and whatever else. And the next thing I remember is a police officer bending over, looking at me, going, "Ma'am, you shouldn't be alive right now." So they took me to the hospital, they ran a million tests, and I got discharged the same day.
Wow.
Okay. And so I had to take an Uber home. So I take this Uber home, and I remember opening the front door to my house. And this is Christmas time, right? And so I looked at that front door, and a couple weeks prior, I was like, we need to get a new front door. There's so much dirt or marks or skids from the kids' scooters and blah, 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 blah. There's a whole bunch of nail holes from all the wreaths that have been up for different seasons. And all of a sudden, I'm looking at that door thinking, thank God I didn't get rid of this. Like, look at all these little memories in this door that are reminding me, like, really what life's all about. I open the door, and the kids, like, there's pizza on the counter. Someone goes by on rollerblades. 2 of them are arguing with each other, and they, like, catch me looking at them, and they're surprised that I'm not jumping in to act. And I'm, like, tears are just falling down my face, thinking, all of these moments I almost never had. right? Like, I'm so grateful that there's pizza on the counter. I'm so grateful that there's kids fighting and they have this opinion and they want the other one to believe the same thing. I'm like, I was so much in gratitude. And then a couple weeks after the holidays, I got a call from the police station. And like, we've tried to rebuild this accident over 50 different ways, and we cannot come up with one scenario where you live, let alone walk away. And they're like, you must be here for a reason. And all of a sudden, that like heaviness of, I told death I'd do something significant. What does that even mean? And where do I even start? And so what I did is I made a bucket list of things that interest me. I want to swim with whale sharks. I want to taste pasta in Italy. I want to climb a mountain. Like, all these things that I was like, death is real. If I don't start doing these things, my life's not going to have the resume that I want it to have. And so at the end of 2019, I realized in 2020 I was turning 40. So when I was looking at this list, these pages of things I wanted to do before I die, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to climb a mountain for my 40th birthday.
Oh, I think she froze a little bit there. We're all stunned. A mountain. Oh my goodness. Okay, so hopefully her internet will come back on. But let's just talk a little bit about that. I think, have we not all had that moment of, I don't know, the clarity comes. I love how she said she was grateful for the pizza. And I love how she said she was grateful for the, the door and all of the nail holes that had been put there over the years. How incredible. Liz, I'm going to pass it to you. Gratitude.
So, gratitude, what an amazing story. I can't even believe that she was able to walk out of that car. And there, she's back.
She's back. Awesome. Great. Oh, we're going to unmute you there. We were just talking a little bit, following up on your moments of gratitude and how incredible that is. Okay, you're ready to go, Jen.
I'm ready to go. I apologize. So they said this mountain named Ama de Blanc, which like all of you had never heard of it before. And they said, well, it's the Paramount Pictures logo, and it's located in Nepal, and it means the mother's necklace. And so every time you go to the movies with your kids, you can be like, I climbed that mountain. I'm like, okay, I'm going to climb Ama de Blanc. It's located in Nepal. It checks a couple different boxes on my to-do list, and I start training for it. And if we rewind back to 2020, we can remember this little thing called COVID entered the scene. And now I wasn't training for any mountain in some exotic land. I was homeschooling all of my children. And I was that mom that took homeschooling serious because I'm like, we're not going to fall behind. And so one day, one of my kids was struggling with his math homework. And I did that parent pep talk that we all have. We do hard things. You've got this. And this little kid looks up at me and he goes, Mom, if we do hard things, why are you climbing a mountain called I'm a Dumb Blonde instead of a real one like Mount Everest? And I'm like, I'm a dumb blonde? Honey, it's Ama de Blanc, not I'm a dumb blonde. Like, who are you telling this to, right? I mean, you can't even make this up. I'm like, finish your homework and then we'll look at Everest. And so he finishes his homework, we look at Everest, he goes to bed, and I'm still looking at Everest. And I'm thinking, you know what? If this kid thinks Everest is the hardest mountain in the whole world, I'm gonna climb it. And I'm gonna show him whatever our Everest is we're capable of summiting. And so I call up a coach. The coach asked me some questions. Thankfully, I used to be a college athlete. So he's like, yes, I can get you ready. Buy this book about becoming an uphill athlete. I'm like, okay. So the book comes in the mail. I start reading through it. And in the front is a story of a lady who got a Guinness World Record. And I was talking to my coach because I was venting, all my kids were home. And I'm like, if I got a Guinness World Record, I'd be a cool mom. Because this COVID homeschooling thing is not helping my coolness at all. And while I was venting, my coach was taking that as a challenge. He's like, okay, I'm gonna come up with something. I'll get back to you. I'm like, all right, fine. And a few weeks go by and I don't even think about it. And then one day I get that call. He's like, Jen, I have the perfect world record for you. I'm like, oh, yeah, I totally forgot about it. He's like, what? I'm like, what? He's like, I think You should be the first woman to climb the 7-second summits. I'm like, Alan, I don't even know what you just said. The what? He's like, well, the second highest peak in all of the 7 continents. Of course, my ego jumps in. It's like, well, why wouldn't we climb the highest? Why are we climbing the second highest? And my coach goes, well, the second highest are harder, and they've never been done by a woman. And I know you're trying to do something significant, and I think this would be a significant pursuit. You'd be the first woman, first mother in the world to climb these peaks. They've only been done by one male. And he goes, and think about it. 7 continents, 7 mountains, you have 7 children. It's a jackpot. I'm like, it does feel like a jackpot, but I've never slept in a tent before. So I just don't know if we're biting off too much right now. He's like, no, you think about it. We can get you ready. You have that personality. So I go home and I talk to like my kids about this whole thing after I sat with it for a minute. And I'm explaining to them like, hey, mom's thinking of doing blah, blah, blah. And before I could get through any of it, they start claiming continents. I want Antarctica, I want Africa, I want Australia. And here's the thing that I learned from that process. Accountability is love, okay? Because here's what happened. My kids were bullying each other, like if mom doesn't climb your mountain, she doesn't like you, right? And then whatever kids' mountain I was training for, they were the one that were helping me get ready and do all the documentation and the different things like that. So very quickly, I was committed to this pursuit because I had people around me holding me accountable and like convinced that I was going to climb their mountain because they claimed it. And I think that gave me a huge edge on taking on this pursuit. Now, of course, everything sounds great on paper. We've all been there before. And then you go climb the first mountain. So the first mountain I went to go climb was Ojos del Salado in the Atacama Desert, which actually sounds kind of cool until you get there and you realize that the volcano is the feature. So there's nothing else to look at. And when you climb a volcano, you take one step up and you slide half a step down, every single step. And because it's in a desert, there's nothing that holds the heat in. So when the sun comes out during the day, it starts moving all the air particles, and the entire time you're climbing, you're in a windstorm that's going like, you have to yell to hear yourself think. And so I finished this pursuit and I came home and I'm like, Alan, we're done. Like that was horrible. Like that is like torture. If we get victims or whatever that we don't need, put them in a wind tunnel. Like they can't even think. He's like, oh, don't worry. That's your only mountain that's like that. I'm like, okay, fine. And so the next mountain we were going to climb was Mount Kenya in Africa. And Mount Kenya is a 20-pitch rock climb. And the only reason why we're climbing it next is because someone heard about my pursuit and they were involved in a charity there. And they had said like, hey, would you be the face of our charity and go over there and help make this climb happen? I'm like, well, of course I'm going to say yes to that. Are you kidding me? Like, what an honor. And that was an interesting shift in the pursuit because then every climb afterwards had some kind of charitable component to it. And I think that's what's awesome about sharing your goals and what you're doing because other people will add to them and it'll make them even better and bigger as you keep going. Well, the unfortunate thing for me with climbing Mount Kenya is that I had no idea I had a fear of heights. And so when I went down to the climbing gym to learn how to climb, because I had to have a harness and rock climbing shoes and all these different things, I told the coach there, like, hey, I'm Jen. I'm trying to set a world record. I just need to learn how to climb a little bit for this next mountain. Kind of cocky, if I had to be honest. And this coach looks at me. He's like, okay, fine. Put on your gear. Get on that wall. I'll belay you. And we're going to see how strong you are so I know where to build your plan. I get on that wall. I'm 10 feet off the ground. 10, that's it, just 10. And I start shaking, I'm sweating profusely, my hands are wet, my vision tunnels, my heart's exploding out of my chest. I look down at my guide, he looks up at me, gives me the finger to come down. I get down, I'm like, what just happened? Like, what just happened? He goes, you have a fear of heights. I'm like, I don't have a fear of heights. I've been in chairlifts, I've been on roller coasters, I've been in skyscrapers. Like, what do you mean I have a fear of heights? He's like, well, that's what it looks like. I'm like, well, what do we do? Like, I can't, like, this is insane. I've never felt fear in my body like this. He's like, well, we're going to have to do exposure therapy. I'm like, well, what's exposure therapy? He's like, well, you're going to go on the wall, you're going to feel that fear, and you're going to go one handhold higher. And then you can climb off the wall, regain your composure, we'll get you back on that wall. And anytime that feeling comes up, I just need you to go one handhold higher. Took me 30 days to get to the top of that wall, okay? And the crazy thing is I took one day off during that training process and I went 3 days backwards. And I quickly learned fear does not take time off. We wish it did, but it doesn't. And so when I got to Africa, it showed up, but I could tell it like, yes, you're gonna be here, but you're in the back seat. I'm driving, clip in, we're climbing. And so it was one of these lessons that I learned that fear is gonna manifest different ways for all of us. And the only thing we can do is keep pushing against it, or it's gonna keep pushing against us and shrink our world. From there, I actually went to climb Everest. And the reason why I went to climb Everest is one, I promised my son, and two, Everest is a training mountain. I want you to hear this. My training mountain for K2, because K2 is that much harder and more challenging and devastating than Everest is. And I just remember getting to Everest and being amazed at how much goes into climbing that mountain. You have rope teams, you have tent teams, you have oxygen teams, you have teams that set the ladders, you have teams that like track the weather. There is so much support on that mountain. And I realized big mountains take big teams. So all of us that are setting Everest-like goals in our own personal lives, if you do not have enough people on your team and you need to manage all these different components, the oxygen, the food, the water, the tents, the weather, all those pieces, it is so much harder to get to the top of the mountain. If you can build yourself a support system that can help with these different pieces, and the only thing you need to do is put on your boots and keep climbing, you're gonna get to the top and you're gonna have fun doing it. And here's the crazy thing. I was on the top of Mount Everest for 10 minutes. You guys, I trained 1,238 hours to stand on that mountain for 10 minutes. Like I tried to convince my guide to let me go down, like stay, and he's like, no, we have to go down. And I realized the reason why we pick these goals or these mountains ahead of us is because the person we become in the pursuit of them is the real gift. And that journey of becoming is the story that we're living right now. And the thing that we can do is like when we commit to the commitment, like I committed to climbing Everest, I was not climbing it. Now we can use our energy of who else can we bring along? How can we make this more fun? What can we do knowing that these are the days that we're going to talk about at some point in the future? So from Everest, I went to K2. My first attempt at K2 did not end up in a summit. I actually, unfortunately, lost a teammate to an avalanche. And I just remember thinking, okay, I've read about these. I didn't expect to experience this. And that was devastating for me. And I was on the mountain when this happened. And they called me on a radio and they said, you can continue to climb or you can go back down, but you need to make that decision. I remember thinking, like, continue to climb? My teammate just died. Like, who climbs when their teammate dies? So I went down. And I remember getting back into the United States, and I got home a few days before my kids did, so I sat there and kind of worked the story because I couldn't be a victim and go back. So I had to figure out like what that narrative was to give me the energy to pursue it still. And my narrative was my teammate that passed away was 68 years old, single, and married to the mountains. If he was gonna pass away, he was doing something he loved. And that's the story I had to hold on to. And when my kids met me at the airport, because they came home from camp, they're like, Mom, did you summit? I'm like, no, I didn't, but I had success. And they looked at me all confused, like, what do you mean? I'm like, guys, who we show up as people is way more important than anything we ever achieve. And in your life, I hope when you're challenged between people and peaks, you always pick people because the peaks will always be there. And of course, my kids are young, so they're like, okay, whatever, Mom, are you going back? I'm like, yeah, I have to go back. This is one of my mountains. And so luckily for me, I had a coach, which I think mentors are so useful. My coach was like, we cannot sit on this loss for a year. So we need to get another mountain in so you have some momentum going in another direction. So we went to Russia next. This is September of 2021. They lost all my gear on the way there. I remember landing in Moscow and the guide being with me, and I'm like, my gear's not here. Can we wait for it for a day or two and then go to the mountain? He's like, no, we climb now, weather now, so go now or you go home. I'm like, well, I can't go home. Like, I flew all the way over here. Like, let's make something happen. He's like, you rent gear and we climb. I'm gonna rent gear to climb the second highest peak in this like continent? Are you kidding me? He's like, go home. We're renting gear. You guys, I had to rent gear. Like, I had to buy underwear and toothpaste and like everything you needed to do this thing. And by like the line of God or the stars or universe or however you want to call it, we summited. I was wearing Scooby-Doo boys underwear, okay? Because that's the only thing I could buy that would fit my body. And I'm sitting there thinking, we summited. We get back to the airport, all my bags are there perfectly with their zip ties waiting for me to get them, almost laughing. And 6 months later, Russia closed. Had I not allowed that thing to look entirely different from what I wanted it to be, I would not have the world record today. And so when you have this vision, which we do need to have, you also have to be able to put it aside and be like, here's what I'm dealing with. Let's see how far we get. Let's adjust our approach, and if we get lucky, we get the summit, and maybe we won't. From there, I went to Antarctica and had success. I went to Mount Logan, did not have success, and now it's time to go back to K2. I did not want to go back to K2. I got a call from somebody I'd met the year before saying, hey, are you coming back this year? I'm like, I am. I'm a little nervous. Well, you told me to train, and you said if I train that someday I'd be able to be put on a team. I'm like, yeah, you know, you always have to be in ready position because you never know when that opportunity is going to come. But if you're not ready and the opportunity comes, you can't take advantage of it. And she's like, well, I've been training and doing all the things and no one will put me on their team. And so then I got quiet with myself. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put her on my team. So I put her on my team. We went back to climb K2. I became the 3rd American female to summit. And she became the first Pakistani female to summit. Amazing, right? And here's what I think the lesson is there. When we tell the universe that we're going to do something, we need to continue to do it because we only get to see life from our perspective. And so when we say we're going to do something and it falls apart the first time, like my first attempt did, and we come back, we get to be that little Lego piece in building a bigger picture that we don't understand, and miracles happen. Like, I can't even tell you, I was like, what am I going to do significant in my life? And I'm like, I checked the box, thank you, now I can play and not be stressed out that I didn't hold up my end of the bargain, right? Mm-hmm. Went from K2, went to Mount Logan again for a second time. Thought I like summited, we got all the documents into Guinness World Records. I remember flying home from that trip. My family met me at the airport. They were like, yay, we have a world record. And my little guy that started this whole thing, he goes, congratulations, Mom. I'm like, thanks, sweetheart. He's like, Mom, you have bad breath. I'm like, yeah, I was on an airplane for 15 hours. Of course I have bad breath. And I'm just sharing this because my cool mom moment was like 3 seconds. A hug, and then I was brought back to bad breath. I mean, like, come on, child. So then we send all the documents into Guinness World Records, and they say, guess what? There's a dispute on what's a continent, and we need you to climb 2 more mountains. I was in a self-driving car in Arizona. How is there a dispute on what's a continent? But thank you. And so they said, we'd like you to climb this mountain in Europe in case, like, Russia's not part of Europe. We need to climb this mountain in Indonesia because sometimes Indonesia is a part of Australia instead of Asia. And if it is, the higher mountains in Indonesia. So in 2024, I went to do all of that. And on October 9 of 2024, I summited the last mountain. I got in the Guinness World Record book this year. And I am beyond humbled with what our lives can become as they unfold. So I share this story today because a lot of times these lost wallet moments like send us in a tizzy, and maybe that's what we need to get redirected to where we go. And you might come up with an idea, and then your kid's gonna make it funny, and then your coach is gonna make it bigger, and then all these other people are gonna be a part of it, and it's gonna turn into this magical tapestry that you never imagined. So I hope that you find the courage to be you and to shine your light, because it helps all of us have permission to shine ours. And the gift I have for you all today is actually my favorite thing ever. When I was on Everest, there was a video of the Milky Way galaxy going over Everest Base Camp. And anytime my life gets overwhelming or hard, I look at that video to get reconnected with perspective. And so I want to share that video with you that you guys can keep on your phones or wherever. And when life gets hard, you can look at that and just remember, like, we're these little bitty people on this planet doing little things, and we're okay. So thank you very much for your time today.
Oh my goodness. If we could take everybody off of mute, and we won't for security reasons, you would hear a huge, and I know that you've heard many, many crowds say many, many thanks in many, many different ways. I mean, congratulations doesn't even begin. There's so much in there that I just felt myself getting emotionally full the more and more you talked. And I was like literally cheering you on as if you were on that mountain and laughing you with things like, you got bad breath. Like the beautiful thing about your story is that it's life, that it's life, that you did that in amongst life. That's incredible.